Abundance is not greed. It's alignment. Let's clear this up. Abundance is not excess without purpose. Abundance is alignment with divine flow. Abundance means there is enough food and enough to share, enough money and enough generosity, enough love and enough emotional capacity, enough peace to remain calm even when things shake, enough joy to laugh without guilt, enough opportunities to say yes without fear, enough healing to stop reliving the pain, enough promotion to stop shrinking, enough romance to stop settling, enough gifts to stop doubting your worth, enough homes, cars, travels, experiences to remind you that God delights in blessing His children. Abundance is not about hoarding. It's about overflow with intention. And abundance doesn't begin in your wallet. It begins in your belief system.